My name is Charlie, and this is an art lesson. And today we will talk a little bit more in depth about the color wheel and how artists use it to help them with their color mixing choices. Now you'll remember that light is where color comes from. And light is a wave traveling through space very quickly. And that wave comes in different sizes. And if that wave is smaller than a bacteria and larger than a virus, it might fall in the range of visible light, and our eyes are able to pick it up in the form of color. These waves might be red or orange, yellow, and then getting smaller, green and blue, and the smallest wave we can see is violet, and that makes up the visible spectrum of light, and all colors come from that. But that is the color of light. When we are talking about the color of ink in markers, it comes in this spectrum of colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. And artists have struggled to find a way to use these materials in their art. And one of the tools that they use to help them is the color wheel. And they organize this spectrum in a circle. To make my circle, or my color wheel, I started with a dot in the center of my page, and then I make a triangle of circles, 3 circles equally spaced for the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. And then I'm making circles that overlap those other circles in between them, and these are for the secondary colors, orange, green, and violet. And now, I use these markers to color in my color wheel. Once we have the spectrum arranged in such a way, it's very easy to see the opposites, which colors are opposite each other across on the wheel. Red and green are opposites, purple and yellow are opposites, and blue and orange are opposites. We call these complementary colors. If I mix complementary colors together, like red and green, where they overlap, they neutralize each other. That means that green takes the red out of it, and vice versa. Watch what happens when I put orange over this blue area. It looks nearly black. The orange has canceled out the blue. I wonder if it works the same with purple and yellow. Yellow is a very interesting color because it's lighter than the other colors and it's easily influenced. But it is still able to neutralize the purple. Another color relationship is with adjacent colors or neighboring colors. These are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. When you mix these together, it usually makes a nice variation of those two colors. Now, these markers are the most simple of colors, but let's see what happens when I cover over this red area with orange and this orange with yellow. It didn't change it much. If I were using colored pencils or paints, they would blend together a lot nicer. These have a tendency of just overpowering the other colors. Markers have a unique relationship with paper, in that they actually dye the paper the color of the ink. And so sometimes color mixing is challenging. But the color wheel can help us. So I know that orange and red are going to fit well together. And you can see it does. I will make a yellow patch here with some orange on it. And you can see the orange marker still looks orange, even though it's on top of yellow. Now, yellow, I said, is a special color because it's not very strong and other colors tend to overpower it. This green marker still looks green, even though I put it on the yellow. And blue and green together make something like turquoise, kind of a blue-green shade. Oops, I meant blue. And blue with purple over it go well together. But in markers, they're such dark colors that it's hard to see. They blend together so well. And it's kind of the same with purple and red. Purple is a very strong color that overpowers other colors. But purple is also a very dark color, so it can show up on intense colors like red. If you have markers at home, you can try drawing the spectrum and making your own color wheel and experiment with how colors look when they're mixed together and layered on top of each other in these different ways. You can see how to make black and brown by mixing complementary colors, and practice mixing adjacent colors to see if you can come up with some nice effects. When I'm working with color, I often draw a quick color diagram like this, with two triangles, and then I label the points: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And if you want, you can color the points with the correct colors, but usually I just use it this way. I'll color this one. The color wheel can also help us organize the colors in different ways, such as warm and cool colors. Of course, you probably know that red, orange, and yellow are generally thought of to be warm colors, and green, blue, and purple are the cool colors. It also helps to think about the weight of different colors. Some colors are intense and heavy. Sometimes they appear dark, and others are intense but light. Yellow is a very light color. Purple is a very heavy color. And there's other heavy colors like blue, and I think green is another light color, although it's not as light as yellow. One of the challenges with markers is that it's hard to change the intensity of the colors. All marker colors seem very bright and loud and intense. With colored pencils, we can press lightly and the paper starts to show through and it becomes less intense. Another way to change the intensity of a color is to add the complementary color. Here I'm shading a little bit of green over the red, and you can see it becomes less red, although it's still red. Another way to change the intensity of a color is to add gray or black. It doesn't change which color of the rainbow it is. It just makes it less bright red. And this is a dimension of color that we call intensity. With colored pencils, you can change the intensity easier by not pressing as hard and letting more of the paper show through. Or you can add gray or black over a color to reduce the intensity. And this helps get a lot of different greens or a lot of different reds that will add visual interest to your drawing. The more you experiment with your colored pencils and your markers, the more comfortable you will become coloring a variety of different things. Some colors don't seem to appear on the color wheel. This is kind of a light bluish green. I'm going to go over it with orange, which I think is the opposite, just to see what it looks like. And then here's some yellow going over that same color. And now I'll try some red here. Colored pencils are a fun tool, and you can get a lot of different shades and tones. Markers are a little bit limited, but they have their qualities. Markers get their color from a watery ink, and colored pencils use a waxy lead. So you can even draw with a white colored pencil and go over it with marker. Sometimes I even wipe it with a Kleenex to get the ink off, and you'll see that it shows up. And this is similar to resist painting with watercolor paints. Markers also change the color of the paper, and you can still draw on that paper with colored pencils. So if you put markers under your colored pencils, you can create some nice effects. If you put it over your colored pencils, you might have to wipe up the extra ink and you'll be left with a new effect. On this page, I'm just practicing with a variety of different combinations of markers and colored pencils. Thank you for watching. We spent some more time with the color wheel today, and I hope you find it helpful when you're trying to mix colors and make your own color choices. Sometimes you want your colors to help things blend in, and other times you want to use it to make them really stand out. Either way, it's up to you. Well, it was a pleasure and a privilege, and I enjoyed it to the utmost.